Je moet dit niet klaargemaakt het. Ik zal maar kijken hoe die punten, maar ik sien Chris het ook niet 'n goeie dag gehad nie, so ek voel nie baie sleg nie.
Dit lijkt me een van je problemen is jouw begin, je wegspring.
In jou ander klas ja, maar in die klas is gewoonlik 'n goeie wegspring, maar as die dag verkeerd begin, dan sit my seker in 'n verkeerde dag.
Open motorbikes now, and with 2 wins under his belt already, Gary Peterson is the favourite to take the main event as well. But Ian Topless was second in both qualifying heats and needed a win to try and close the championship gap of 12 points between himself and Peterson. Topless in third behind Alan Julian and Gary Peterson as they head down the hill on the first lap. Julian was third in Heat 1 and fourth in Heat 2. A great start once again by Gary Peterson on his Team Brasco FMF Racing Kawasaki, followed closely by Alan Julian on his Honda and Ian Topless on his Elna Fox Kawasaki. Peterson has found new inspiration, becoming the proud father of a beautiful little girl recently, and it's showing in his racing. He's also not showing any signs of discomfort after breaking some ribs in a practice accident a few weeks ago. Peterson, Julian and Topless is on the attack. Topless desperately needs to win this race, but first he has to get by Alan Julian, who's not the easiest rider to pass at the best of times. Grant Bloomfield on his 500 Honda is fourth, ahead of Greg Aspinall on a Kawasaki. Topless has just retained his 125 and 250 motocross titles and will have to close the points gap on Gary Peterson to have any hope of taking the open category in Total Super Series 97. But Julian's not making it easy in any way. With Peterson pulling away, 2 nice battles have developed between Julian and Topless for second and between Bloomfield and Aspinall for fourth. Alan Julian on his Shell Honda, a long-time off-road competitor who's only recently found form in the short course Total Super Series event, under attack from motocross specialist Ian Topless on his Elna Fox Kawasaki. Behind them, Grant Bloomfield's defending his 4th position from Greg Aspinall, but this is the battle of the race. Gary Lipchik on a Kawasaki and with his trademark Pink Panther on his back is in 6th. A nice lead has developed for Peterson on his Team Brasco FMS Racing Kawasaki because Julian and Topless are keeping each other extremely busy. Defending and attacking causes you to take unconventional lines and to brake early, slowing you down. There's Peterson, and Julian seems to have made a bit of a break over Topless. Behind them, Greg Aspinall has taken 4th from Grant Bloomfield. Gary Lipchik is still in the picture. Topless is going as hard as he can, but doesn't seem to be able to do anything about Julian's lead in the battle for second position. Aspinall has made a nice break as well. Bloomfield finding the big 500 not as nimble as the 250s. Aspinall is also a long-time off-road competitor, and it's galling to the off-roaders that the motocrossers have been dominating Total Super Series since its inception last year. In 6th position, Gary Lipchik seems to be catching Bloomfield. Gary Peterson has had Ian Topless hounding him in the championship this season, but some good results for him and some bad luck for Topless has opened up a commanding lead of 12 points in favour of Peterson after the last 2 events. After this, there's one more round of the championship to go, and Topless will have to dig deep. Round the left-hander at the bottom of the track, and the order seems to have settled down. It's Peterson, Julian and Topless. Then comes Aspinall and Bloomfield in 5th, Gary Lipchik in 6th, and Johan de Bruyn on his Honda in 7th. Acknowledgement from the crowd as the battle for second position hots up again. Topless on the outside, and this time he holds his momentum and goes around Alan Julian. Now he has to hold the inside line for the left-hander, and yes, he does it. Ian Topless moves into second position. Topless gets a good drive out of the corner and has already opened up a bit of a gap over Julian. Question is, does he have enough time to catch Peterson? Backmarkers coming up. There's our leader, but unfortunately Topless has left it too late and the order remained the same. Peterson took a relatively easy victory as well as 1st overall for the day. Topless is 3rd, 2nd place gave him 2nd overall, losing a further 2 championship points to Peterson. Julian finished 3rd overall.
Gary, well done. That's 3 in a row for the day. You don't seem to slow down at all.
No, I told you this morning, Hendrik. Ian was out to get me. I wasn't out to get him, I was out to win. And I proved that I won 3 out of 3. He's been on a roll, he's been beating me like by 1 point, 2 points in the last 2 or 3 rounds. And I've made up another 2 points on him after today.
The final showdown of the day in the super truck and production vehicle category, and with mechanical problems causing mayhem in the first 2 heats, the scene was set for a grand finale. In Heat 1, Kasi Kutsia's dealer team Toyota dropped out with a fuel pump problem, allowing Paolo Piazzamuso to win in the creepy crawly Ford. Heat 2 saw Claudio Piazzamuso taking his maiden win in the other creepy crawly Ford, Paolo suffering with an engine problem and Kutsia with a puncture. A great start and already a gap for Kutsia in the dealer team Toyota Hilux, with Linton Draper, who finished 3rd in both previous heats in his Chev V8, battling it out with Claudio Piazzamuso in the creepy-crawly Ford Courier. The showdown was on another level too, with Kutsia's dealer team Toyota Hilux being prepared by American specialist Tony George, and the 2 creepy-crawly Ford Couriers by their designer, Nye Frank, also from the USA. Kutsia was determined to make up for his bad luck in the previous 2 heats and was making the most of Claudio Piazzamuso's dilemma of being stuck behind the huge Chev V8 of Linton Draper. These 2 were trading blows in the battle for 2nd position. Piazzamuso on a high after his win in the previous heat, Draper was not about to give up easily. Championship leader Paolo Piazzamuso was still suffering from a misfiring engine in his creepy-crawly Ford Courier and was just circulating in an effort to score some points. Meanwhile, Kasi Kutsia was pulling out all the stops, opening up a huge gap over Linton Draper. Claudio Piazzamuso was also trying his best, pushing and prodding to get past Linton Draper. The creepy-crawly Ford Courier was handling much better than before, thanks to the input of Frank, and he was clearly faster than Draper, into and around the corners. But Draper had the advantage of low-down grunt from his V8 engine, and could get out of the slow corners quickly. This was turning into a similar battle to the one between the 2 of them in the first heat, when Piazzamuso also battled to get past Draper. Piazzamuso gets his nose next to Draper, but he's mindful of the incident in Heat 1 when contact between them in this corner left Piazzamuso the worse for wear. Draper isn't averse to finding a different route than the marked one, and Piazzamuso must again be growing increasingly frustrated. Kutsia pulling a lead, and all eyes on this battle for 2nd position between the very wide grunting V8-powered Chev of Linton Draper and the smooth, well-handling 4-cylinder Ford-powered creepy-crawly Courier of Claudio Piazzamuso. Draper defending his line into the right-hander, and Piazzamuso trying to get the slingshot out of it and down the hill. This is where the Ford driver catches up on every lap. And this time he gets it right. Piazzamuso is right next to Draper, and the Chev driver is forced to give way. The creepy-crawly Ford moves into 2nd position. Now, will Piazzamuso be able to get away from Draper? And more importantly for him, will he be able to catch the flying Kasi Kutsia? Some argy-bargy there, but Piazzamuso keeps control. The chase is on. Piazzamuso seems to have made it stick and sets off in pursuit of the dealer team Toyota Hilux of Kasi Kutsia in the lead. Kutsia has had an easy run so far, no sign of the engine maladies that plagued him in the first heat. But problems there are for Piazzamuso. He's got it wrong, Draper is past, and now he has to do it all over again. Further back in the production category, Frank de Geerf in his VW Beetle is involved in an almighty battle with Henry Zermatten in his Chev. Kutsia is about to lap them, but this is a tight part of the circuit and it's going to take a while. De Geerf has nowhere to go, so Kutsia will have to bide his time. Oh, and problems for Draper. He's pulled off the circuit and is out of the race, allowing Claudio Piazzamuso to take back 2nd position. But he's a far way off Kutsia and has to get past Richard Leake's Castrol Hilux. That's the distance. Coetzee is so far ahead that he's coming up to lap Piazza Musso in second position. These two, the only remaining super trucks left in the race, with Paolo Piazza Musso finally deciding to call it a day. Coetzee catching an unwell-sounding Claudio Piazza Musso, who lost a lot of time when he got stuck earlier in the race. This has never happened before. One of the top super trucks actually lapping one of the others. Coetzee and the whole Toyota team were extremely pleased about that. Coetzee took his first victory of the day, ahead of Claudio Piazza Musso and Linton Draper, while de Greef won the production vehicle category. With Piazza Musso's 2 seconds and a victory, he took the overall honours, but Coetzee ended the day in exuberant style.
Was die dag van gemengde geluk vir jou?
Ons onderskop werd third time lucky. Ons was die derde keer werklik gelukkig geweest. Ek het nie gedink ons geluk gaan so vinnig draai nie, maar het was lekker om te wen, veral om die dag af te sluit.
Wat was die probleem in die eerste wedstryd?
Ja, in die eerste wedstryd is 'n fuelpomp wat binne gebreek het. Jy kan nie, ons kon nie fout analiseer nie voor die pomp nie oopgemaak en die eerste gedink is veiligheid. En die tweede wedstryd was 'n papwiel, eerste keer ons 'n papwiel kry. Third time lucky.
The final round, Total Super Series 97, will be held at AA Kyalami on Saturday the 8th of November. See you there.